Hi there, it's Canaday of VO2 Max Productions here with another training talk. Today we're going to talk about overcoming injury, and first off I want to thank you for all the supportive comments on my last video vlog entry from the UTMB DNF. I wrote a blog report about it now too on my website sagecanaday.com, but man, I was blown away. I can't believe all you guys, I read all the comments, they're really nice. Thank you so much. Coming from that kind of that disappointment, I guess, and then seeing the support I got just on that video, super long video, it blew me away. And I really appreciate every single one of those comments and all the thumbs up and video views and shares. So thank you guys. The community is really great to be a part of, and I'm honored to be able to share the story and to hear feedback from you guys. And I hope your running is going well as well. But long story short, I'm injured, and so I thought this would be maybe an appropriate type of video. And I'll admit I don't have a whole lot of extensive experience with overcoming major injuries. A lot of my injuries have been blows from racing. Let's see, the first one was my first ultra, Chuckanut 50K. 2012, I fell in the last mile of the race, and it was a clumsy fall again. These are always clumsy falls. Sliced my knee open right below the patellar tendon, 4 stitches on the finish line. Still finished that race though. It's good it happened a mile before the finish. So I had to overcome that. And I've had some minor shin splints over the years. Nothing real major. I've seen a lot of my teammates though in high school, college, and at Hanson's Brooks when I ran professional road marathons. I've seen a lot of their injuries as well, and I know the common ones. So just kind of touch on some basic strategies for overcoming injury, because it's very frustrating and I'm still going through the process right now. So first off, consult your doctor. I am not a doctor, I'm not an expert, I'm not liable for your death or injury or further impairment. You want to see a specialist, hopefully a sports doctor. And honestly, I haven't seen one yet. I haven't gotten my knee x-rayed. I've thought about it. My deductible on my health insurance plan is a little high, so that's kind of holding me back, honestly. But if it keeps bothering me, then it's definitely going to be an option that I'll probably have to invest in, I guess. You can't mess around with knee joints and things like that. But other injuries that people have to come through, I mean, there's shin splints, there's plantar fasciitis, there's Achilles tendonitis, stress reaction, stress fractures, as well as the occasional, a lot of tendonitis, but also muscle strains. And the ones I touch on, depending on the type of injury you have, depends on your recovery period. It also depends on your treatment options, and it depends on how soon you could come back into running. And the number one thing that I've seen in my own experience, but also with runners, is that they try to come back too fast, too soon. And this is common with beginner runners as well. Getting into the sport, they just start ramping up their mileage maybe too fast, too soon, and then they get shin splints or they get a stress fracture or something like that. So you really have to be patient, and this is really hard for me because, of course, I came back to Colorado and I was like, I'm gonna jump and run Rabbit Run 100 next week, and then I realized I could barely run 4 miles and jog 4 miles, and so had to throw that idea out the window. And like my injury at Chuckanut, that was a sudden trauma. That was more of a cut, 4-stitch cut. My knee was a little stiff coming back from that, and what I found in that was low impact. And that's kind of a general rule of thumb also for coming back from a lot of these injuries, is you need to reduce the impact stress of pounding pavement. And I get on the big Hokas. Other elite athletes might run on an Alter G treadmill at a lower body weight, but you could also go to a pool. You could aqua jog with different foam waistband vests on, or just swim in general if you're a swimmer. I'm not a swimmer, so I stay away from the pool. But also other low impact activities, obviously like cross country skiing in the winter. A lot of runners do that anyway. I can't ski either, too uncoordinated. But then there's the bike, and I got a new road bike last week. I've been cross training with it. You could go to a gym and just go on a stationary bike, or if you have one at home, or get out the old town cruiser. That's what I had before, but I invested in this new entry-level road bike, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. And I found that it gets your heart rate up pretty high for a long time without the impact stress on the knee. So people see that I'm cycling on Strava and they're like, oh, your knee must be better. Well, it's getting better, but the no impact feels good. Running with lots of impact is a little more shaky. And so, running is a very demanding sport because of the high impact stress. And so you try to minimize that with other cardiovascular activities like the ones I just named as you're coming back, as you're implementing your mileage. And, for me, going from running, at my peak 100 or 120 miles a week, that's averaging 14 to 18 miles a day, and doing, 20 or 30 mile long runs sometimes, to being able to barely jog 3 or 4 miles every other day is very humbling. And it takes a lot of patience mentally and discipline to kind of hold yourself back and say, hey, you've been injured, you could barely walk last week, so maybe you need to come back very slowly and start with 15 miles a week before you start running 60 or 70 or 100 miles a week again. That's going to take a while. And to recognize little aches and pains before they become full-blown things, like a stress reaction before it becomes a full-blown stress fracture. Things like that. And obviously with other injuries like Achilles tendonitis, it's better to stay off the hills. Whereas when I came back from my knee injury from chuckanut, and maybe this injury, I found that running on a treadmill on a slight incline actually helped because it was lower impact stress, and I was getting in the cardiovascular benefits of climbing while not pounding very hard on flat pavement, or worse would be downhill pavement. So things like that. And adding in cardiovascular exercises like swimming, cycling, or skiing as you're trying to get your mileage back, and being really patient. Those are definitely keys. But then the other aspect that you want to look at, and maybe this is really common sense, I don't know, is what caused the injury in the first place. Were you clumsy like I was and you fell on the trail and hurt yourself? Or, were your shoes worn out and you started getting knee pain because of that? Or, are you getting tendonitis because there's something in your running form where you overpronate a lot maybe, and it's causing a lot of torquing on your IT band or something, and that gets jacked up? Or maybe, you have really high rigid arches and your shoes got worn out, or you started doing a bunch of hill training and it started tearing the plantar fascia underneath the arch of your foot, especially where it connects to the heel bone. Started doing micro tears in that, and maybe that jacked up your PF. So, there's lots of things that go into play there, and lots of things that you could say like, hey, maybe I need to address this issue. For example, my issue, stiff hips sometimes. You need to work on some stretching exercises, some dynamic drill exercises. And you could go through, Sandy and I have actually Sandy's channel is better at this, Running Well to Believe, I'll link to it there. Hip exercises, core exercises for runners to help improve your running form so you don't get those overuse injuries. Because let's face it, most runners' injuries, if you're not clumsy like me and you don't fall on the trail, most runner injuries come from overuse. They come from the impact stress of running, or changing a variable in your training, whether it's adding in more mileage or more speed, and causing that tendonitis, or causing those shin splints, or things like that, shoes wearing out, bad running form, things like that all contribute. And so if you see the underlying cause, and it makes you stronger basically for the future. So when you do hit that new threshold of high mileage, or you do start that new speed training, instead of getting the tendonitis or the shin splints, you're able to work through it and become stronger because you've realized these drills or these exercises or strength training that you need to not get injured, to stay healthy. Because we're all biomechanically a little bit different, and these injuries are going to manifest themselves in different ways. Other than that, seeing experts, seeing massage therapists, PTs, doctors, nutritionists, you have to be on top of your whole health game for these, even if they're a skeletal muscular type of injury, to heal ideally, and to become to get back into your fitness and to gain fitness. But you mentally have to be very patient, and that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now. And I've had a blast though getting into the road cycling thing, and I want to do some epic climbs pretty soon here as I slowly get my cardiovascular system back, as well as leg strength. Quad strength is good to stabilize the knees. So that's kind of the game plan for me, just my story. Still thinking about maybe jumping back in a late fall marathon to try to chase the OTQ standard, Olympic Trials, 2016 Olympic Trials standard. I still want to run under 2:18 to do that before January, as well as maybe defend my title at the North Face 50 Mile Endurance Challenge. But we'll see how this week goes with my knee, because again, got to be patient. But I hope your late summer, early fall training is going well. Thanks again for all the supportive comments, all the shares, all the subscriptions, likes, and views on these videos. It really just blew me away. It was really great to see. So thank you guys. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more via 2Max Productions.